The wind howled across the vast green hills, rustling the golden fields that stretched endlessly into the horizon. Perched on a jagged rock, a young boy named Elias sat, his arms wrapped around his knees, staring blankly at the flock of sheep grazing peacefully. The villagers had entrusted him with the responsibility of watching over their sheep, but each passing day felt heavier with boredom. The silence of the hill was deafening. The sun burned high in the sky, its golden rays stretching over the sleepy village below. Elias sighed. How long could a boy sit, watching sheep chew on grass? The endless monotony was unbearable. His mind craved excitement, something to shatter the stillness of the afternoon. A wicked idea sparked within him, and a slow smirk crept across his face. Standing up abruptly, he cupped his hands around his mouth and screamed, "Wolf! Wolf! The wolf is chasing the sheep!" The village erupted into chaos. Doors slammed open, and within moments, men and women armed with sticks, pitchforks, and shovels stormed up the hill. Their faces twisted with urgency as they raced toward Elias, their footsteps pounding against the earth like a rolling storm. But when they arrived, there was nothing. Just Elias, grinning mischievously, and the sheep, oblivious and unbothered. "Where is it?" demanded the blacksmith, his thick arms trembling with effort. Elias chuckled, pretending to wipe a tear from his eye. "Oh, you should have seen your faces. There was no wolf. I was just having a little fun." The villagers glared at him, their eyes burning with frustration. "Don't scream wolf when there is no wolf, boy," the elder scolded, shaking his head. "One day, there may be a real danger, and no one will come." With angry mutters, they retreated down the hill, leaving Elias alone once again. But the thrill of their panic had sent a surge of excitement through his veins. The weight of boredom lifted, replaced by a cruel sense of power. Days passed, but the boy's hunger for mischief only grew stronger. Once again, he stood on the rock and bellowed, "Wolf! Wolf! The wolf is chasing the sheep." As expected, the villagers ran up the hill once more. Their faces, lined with exhaustion and concern, turned into masks of fury as they saw Elias laughing again. "Again, boy," shouted an old woman. "You waste our time and effort for your amusement." Elias shrugged, his smirk unwavering. "It's just a joke. No harm done." The villagers muttered among themselves, shaking their heads, but this time their response was different. They walked away slowly, throwing glances over their shoulders as if finally realizing something about the boy. Elias watched them leave, but his amusement flickered. Something about their expressions unsettled him. They weren't just angry anymore. They were disappointed, distrustful. That night, as Elias sat alone under the vast starry sky, he couldn't shake the eerie feeling growing in his chest. He pulled his woolen cloak tighter around him, shivering despite the warmth of the summer breeze. The following evening, as the sun dipped beneath the hills, something changed. The usual sounds of chirping crickets and rustling leaves were absent. A strange stillness hung in the air. The sheep huddled together, their ears twitching, sensing something unseen. Then a low growl. Elias' breath hitched. He spun around, his heart hammering. From the dense underbrush, a pair of glowing yellow eyes peered at him. The massive silhouette of a wolf slinked forward, its sleek fur blending into the darkness. Panic surged through him. He scrambled to his feet, his voice cracking with terror. "Wolf! Wolf! Please, someone help!" His cries echoed through the valley, carried by the wind. But in the village, the doors remained closed. The people who had once come running now ignored his desperate pleas. Tears welled in Elias' eyes. He stumbled backward, his legs trembling. The wolf crept closer, lips curling into a silent snarl. Would the villagers come? Would they believe him this time? The boy had never felt so alone. Elias felt his breath quicken, his heartbeat thundering in his ears. The wolf took another step forward, its claws sinking into the damp earth. The sheep bleated in terror, their hooves shuffling as they tried to flee, but the boy was frozen in place. He turned his head toward the village, straining his ears for any sign of footsteps, any voice calling back to him. But the silence was absolute. The wolf lunged. Elias barely managed to dive out of the way, rolling across the ground as the beast snapped its jaws where he had just stood. His hands scraped against the rocky dirt, pain shooting up his arms, but he forced himself onto his feet. He grabbed a nearby stick and swung wildly. The wolf dodged with unnatural grace, its eyes never leaving him. It was playing with him, savoring the chase. A deep, guttural snarl ripped through the night, and Elias knew he was no longer in control. The game was over. Desperation overtook Elias. He bolted toward the village, his feet pounding against the earth, lungs burning as he screamed again and again. "Help. Please, someone help." No answer. Behind him, the wolf gave chase, its powerful limbs closing the distance between them. Elias could hear its panting, feel its presence right behind him. He reached the village gate, gasping, pounding his fists against the wooden doors. "Please, I swear, there's a wolf. Help me." From inside, shadows moved behind shuttered windows. He saw familiar faces peering out, eyes filled with doubt, with disappointment, then resignation. They turned away. Elias' chest heaved. "No, please. I wasn't lying this time. Please." The doors remained closed. A heavy weight slammed into him from behind, knocking him to the ground. He rolled onto his back just in time to see the wolf standing over him, teeth bared. Tears streaked down Elias' face. "I'm sorry," he whispered. The wolf growled, and then a sudden roar. The village elder, leading the villagers, stormed forward with torches and weapons. The wolf hesitated, eyes flicking to the advancing crowd before leaping back into the darkness. Elias lay trembling as strong hands lifted him. The elder gazed at him with a mixture of pity and sternness. Nobody believes a liar, even when he is telling the truth. The lesson was clear. The price of his lies had nearly cost him everything. As the villagers carried him home, Elias knew he would never tell another lie again. The moral: lying breaks trust, and no one believes a liar, even when they tell the truth.